Now, with Commonwealth leaders getting down to business, the Commonwealth Business Forum has drawn to a close, leaving West Australians wondering just what benefits it will bring. High-profile WA businessman Mark Barnaba led the committee which organised the event, which attracted more than 150 business leaders and 16 heads of state. But exactly when will the forecast billions in investment dollars start flowing into WA? I spoke with Mr Barnaba earlier. Mark Barnaba, thanks for making yourself available at the end of what I know has been a very, very busy week. Now, a year ago when you were appointed to head the steering committee to oversee preparations for the Commonwealth Business Forum, you said that Perth should take advantage of this opportunity. Do you think we really have? Have we capitalised on it?
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me, Andrew. It's appreciated. I think Perth has taken advantage of the whole CHOGM and Business Forum. These type of events don't happen very often. Putting this event in context and within some framework, probably the most telling concept, or at least the most telling stat, is that it's the largest gathering of political and business leaders that the country's ever had. The country's ever had, let alone Western Australia. We had 1,400 delegates. They came from 54 nations, and not all of whom were Commonwealth nations. China and a few others were there as well, which is a very good sign. There were 16 heads of government present, and that would be many more than would normally come, because most of the heads of government, Andrew, normally come directly before or the day of the CHOGM itself.
So their mere presence at this is a measure of its success. Is that what you're saying?
Their measure of this, I think, demonstrates the increasing weight that heads of state are putting on the investment and trade and economic elements of CHOGM.
Now, the Premier's made a very clear point about the potential investment benefits for Western Australia. We heard, you were at the opening, you spoke at the opening of the Business Forum. We heard a figure of $10 billion in deals being done this week. Now, at the end of the week, how are we stacking up against that, or is it not that easy to measure?
We're stacking up well. You can measure it in a number of ways. The first comment is there's a circular flow that occurs simply by having had the event in Western Australia. There is a circular flow that occurs during this week and the run-up in terms of what's spent. There is a project exchange which houses the deals and the transactions which countries and the private sector want to look at, and that totalled $100 billion, so a very healthy number. How much of that should translate into end result over the next 6 to 12 months? Andrew, I would think at least $10 billion. If you hear what was talked about, the conversations that were had between countries and companies, between companies and companies, I would think that that would be eventuated. What is good is that the Commonwealth Business Council, which is the entity that actually owns and runs the Business Forum, they actually do follow up on this. So they undertake a look back in 6 to 12 months time, do an audit and actually say this is what came out of it. But I feel very confident that that's what will eventuate.
And what's your sense of the intangible benefit of the Business Forum in terms of relationships, opportunities, and I guess even just basically the profile of Perth and Western Australia in the world?
Quite frankly, I think that's probably the biggest benefit, Andrew. You had half of those 1,400 delegates being international. Add to that foreign media, there are 4,000 to 5,000 people that have visited our state, many of whom had never been here before. When you put the state in context, many of the conversations you have are completely surprising for people. Several of leaders from other countries will ask, let us know about your state. And when you can explain that, for example, the United States has net exports to China of around just over $90 billion, and it has 310 odd million people. Western Australia has 2.3 million people, and we export nearly half of that total. And when you have statistics like that, and they see the beautiful state in which we live, you talk about our unemployment rate, which is 4.5%. You explain that over a 10-year period we've grown at 5%, which is a Western country, but growing like its Asian neighbours. They are amazed. and many of them are not aware of either the beauty or the economic strength of our state.
Can I just ask you on a personal note? I mean, your corporate experience is very extensive at a very senior level, but I suspect that organising a CHOGM event is something new for you. Having spent a year doing this, as you've watched the week unfold, do you feel as though you've got a return on your investment? Do you feel satisfied with what you've seen and been a part of this week?
The good thing about an event like this when you're not involved in it before is you learn, it stretches you. It's a different experience, it's an exciting event, it's now, I think, been very successful. I will probably sleep very well tonight, I would say, having gone through the week that we've just had. But no, it's been very satisfying. I've really enjoyed it.
And what about tomorrow? Are you heading to the barbecue?
Tomorrow for the barbecue. I probably won't spend tomorrow at the barbecue. I will probably spend tomorrow relaxing and some time with the kids.
Well-earned rest. Mark Barnaba, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Andrew. Thank you very much.